very good, thank you. Thanks so much for making the time to speak with us today. And I'm very excited to host you on our podcast at Skills Alliance, or should I say LIT, because that's the brand of our new platform that we are launching. And we've been connecting with a lot of subject matter experts out there, Rendo, really to just bring some information to our audiences and to explain, about the technologies that we're working in. We know that we're all living in this world of IT, which is really such a jungle, and it's a little bit difficult to navigate, especially when new things are coming out on a daily basis. So we thought that conversations with people like you would be really helpful, just to help the general public grasp, what's happening in the IT space. So it is really an honor to have you on board. Hi, Letu.
Hello, hi, and hi, Rendo. It's quite exciting.
Hi,
It's
Letu.
quite exciting. Yeah.
Cool. So Rendo, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at CompTIA.
Great. First of all, thanks for setting this up, Zakia and Letu. Thanks for hosting me. My name is Rendo Rust. I'm the Senior Manager for Business Development here in South Africa. I'm responsible for assisting delivery partners in South Africa who offer CompTIA training and testing, like Skills Alliance. And then I also assist corporate organizations with upskilling their IT staff.
Awesome. How long have you been with
Fantastic.
CompTIA, Rendo?
So I started in January of 2019, so coming up to 5 years now. Previously, I've worked in the IT industry, working in account management, business development space for some of South Africa's largest IT organizations. So yeah, the move to the edtech space has been something new, something challenging, and something that I really enjoy.
Awesome. Well, you're doing it for half a decade, right? So you're
Here
definitely
we go.
having
Yeah.
a lot of fun. All right, so Rendo,
Yes, to
tell
5
us,
more.
yeah, just to 5 more, and then you get that. I hope you get like a nice watch or something, like a nice Rolex or something from CompTIA, right? To say well done for your loyalty.
Hopefully.
We'll make sure that this video gets to some of the senior folks that sit up there in the States, right? I'll make that my mission.
Tagging
Rendo,
them.
tell us. Yes, yes. Rendo, tell us about CompTIA. What is CompTIA all about?
Okay. Yeah. So to provide an overview of where CompTIA comes from and who we are, I want to take you all the way back to the year 1982, which was a pivotal year and a turning point for technology and innovation. It could be seen as the year that computers became personal. The idea that people could have one on their desk at work and also in their home really ignited the imagination of both organizations and individuals alike. Computer dealers were an emerging industry, and in 1985, CompTIA was first founded as the Association for Better Computer Dealers, ABCD. We changed our name in the early 90s to what we are known today, which is CompTIA, the Computing Technology Industry Association, which is the world's largest non-profit trade association for IT organizations and professionals. So during this time, the challenge that CompTIA faced was that in order to realize the promise of innovation, there had to be enough workforce talent available to support the industry. Not only was there a shortage of skills, but it was also difficult for people interested in a career in IT to understand where to start. The process of gaining these new skills was also extremely costly and inefficient, and thus created a barrier to entry-level IT careers. So then in 1993, CompTIA changed the course of certifications for the entire IT industry by launching the CompTIA A+ certification, the world's first vendor-neutral IT certification that focuses on the skills needed for the job role and not vendor-specific hardware and software applications. The CompTIA A+ certification quickly became the gold standard IT certification, which is responsible for launching millions of tech careers worldwide. Just as the personal computer was the innovation of yesterday, today's innovations include everything from cybersecurity, cloud computing, big data, AI, and other training technologies that are geared towards the fourth industrial revolution. Today, CompTIA strives to meet the same challenges as we did many years ago. which is to prepare the workforce not just for what's now, but also for what's next. So in a nutshell, CompTIA can be viewed and regarded as the voice of the world's IT industry. And our mandate is to advance the growth of the global IT industry by preparing individuals for tech careers, educating IT channel businesses, advocating for technology development, especially in the public sector, and also strengthening communities through our philanthropic efforts.
Wow.
Wow. I didn't know that. 1982.
1985.
Sorry, that was not so brief overview. Quite a lot.
No, but that was absolutely informative. I mean, we've been working
A good
with
origin story of where
Yeah.
CompTIA comes from. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, we've been working with CompTIA now for, I think it's about 3 years. We direct partners. And, you know,
Correct.
bad on me, I haven't taken the time to actually go and read up really the background. But CompTIA has always been, you know, quite a pillar when it came to the training space in IT. So we just took it for granted that, you know, CompTIA is there. But we never stopped to look and see, but why did CompTIA come about? So thanks for that. Now I know. That's good.
Especially 1985. 1985. Actually, I thought it was, for some reason, and I thought it was something that started like 10 years ago. And so you saying 1985, I was quite taken aback with that, thinking it's quite a while. It's quite
And
a
the thing
while.
is that if you looked at, as I mentioned, the CompTIA A Plus launched in 1993, which is 30 years ago,
30 years ago
celebrating the
already.
30-year anniversary of the A Plus.
And speaking
We're still
of
young.
Absolutely, we are still young. I'm 21. Speaking of that, the CompTIA A Plus, what are the most popular certifications that CompTIA has, and what's the importance in the IT for IT professionals? You know, can you mention just a few other than the CompTIA A Plus as well?
Yeah, sure. So CompTIA does offer a variety of certifications that are highly valued in the IT industry. CompTIA A Plus being one of our most popular certification. And this is often the starting point for a career in IT. The A Plus certification covers everything from hardware and devices to networking technology, virtualization, cloud computing, as well as troubleshooting the network and software. The A Plus certification is a very important certification as it validates foundational IT skills and knowledge. Besides the CompTIA A Plus, two of our other popular certifications is the CompTIA Network Plus, which validates the essential knowledge and skills needed to confidently design, configure, manage, and troubleshoot any wired and wireless networks. In fact, the CompTIA Network Plus is the only networking certification on the market that covers both wired and wireless technologies. And this is important because it provides a solid grounding in networking concepts, which is essential for any IT role out there. And then the third one that I want to mention is the CompTIA Security Plus. And this certification covers baseline skills needed to perform core security functions and pursue an IT security career. It is important because we've seen that cybersecurity as a field has been growing a lot over the past couple of years. And the CompTIA Security Plus certification really validates a professional's ability to assess the security posture of an enterprise environment and recommend and implement appropriate security solutions. So these three core skill certifications are important for IT professionals because, as I mentioned, they demonstrate to employers that the holder possesses the necessary skills to perform their job role. And the benefit for the individual is it provides a competitive advantage, especially in today's highly technical job market. And it also leads to heightened career advancement opportunities for them. All the CompTIA certifications are also internationally recognized, making them very valuable for professionals that seek opportunities abroad.
Okay.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And that's also why we try and include a lot of the CompTIA learning in the pathways that we generate for our young delegates, because, you know, as much as in South Africa we are aligned to the MICT CETA framework, which is wonderful. there is a need to have an international benchmark. Especially if folks are looking at working with multinationals. Those HR teams don't always sit in South Africa, right? And they need to, yeah. So CompTIA is a good benchmark for us here at LIT as well. So I do agree with you on that. Now I'm going to ask you a bit of a tricky question, and I don't know if you want to answer this, right? Let's see. How does CompTIA, and in the script I gave you, talking about how does CompTIA compare to Cisco or Microsoft, but since we're speaking about Security Plus, I'm a little bit curious about CompTIA in comparison to what seems to be quite trendy at the moment, which is EC Council.
Yeah, so
mhm.
You're asking how do they compare to these vendor-specific certifications. So, where these certifications focus on specific products and platforms and technologies of those companies, CompTIA certifications are vendor neutral. And they focus on the skills and competence required for the job role rather than vendor-specific technology. I'm not going to name, these other organizations, but with CompTIA certification, this vendor neutrality builds learner agility, making it easy for the individual to move between the diverse technologies that are deployed in today's organizations. Secondly, we've got different tiers of certifications. So we've got our entry-level certifications like the CompTIA A Plus and the CompTIA Network Plus that are designed for individuals starting their IT careers, or professionals looking to validate their foundational IT skills. Then we also have our intermediate and advanced level certifications that focus on specialized fields like cybersecurity. We've got our infrastructure level certifications, as well as our new data certification pathway that we recently launched. And all these certifications, the CompTIA as well as the vendor-specific certification programs, are widely recognized and accepted in the IT industry. However, the relevance may depend on the specific job role in the industry. For example, a network engineer working primarily on Cisco products, for example, may find a Cisco certification more relevant, while a cybersecurity professional may find a CompTIA certification like Security Plus or CYSA Plus more applicable. I also want to state that the CompTIA certifications have include performance-based questions from the start, whereas a lot of these other vendor-specific certifications are only theoretical based. That includes multiple choice questions. CompTIA's performance-based questions ensures employees can apply what they learn within the context of their job role. Also, our certifications have continuing education and recertification requirements to ensure that certified professionals stay current with evolving technologies and industry trends.
How frequent is the recertification? Yeah, I'm actually curious. How frequent does that need to happen, Rendo?
So once an individual becomes certified, their certification is valid for 3 years.
Okay.
And this is in line, or this is the same timeline that we use for our own certification. So our certification versions gets updated every 3 years in order to stay relevant and include the latest technologies and trends within the exam objectives.
Actually, that's quite nice. And that's exactly where I wanted to also get into. Is the latest trends and developments that in the IT industry that the certifications are trying to address, especially with the certifications. What are those? Maybe the latest trends and the developments.
Yeah, so technology changes almost on a daily basis. So every day there's some new trend or new development happening. And CompTIA is addressing these key trends and developments in the IT industry through our own advisory councils that we have for specific technology components, as well as our tech interest groups. So some of the main focus areas currently are artificial intelligence. We see a massive drive and adoption of AI tools, data and business intelligence as well, where there's a significant movement towards the democratization of IT, especially with today's IT workers increasingly using data and business intelligence tools. There's also developments in the software as a service ecosystem, especially. There's an increase in the need for cybersecurity, as I mentioned, and also we're seeing a drive in the adoption of cloud computing on our organizational level. There's also a lot of interest around the use of drones, and which also raises issues around privacy and security. Another trend is blockchain, especially with the cryptocurrency and all that. And there's a lot of debate about the reality and potential of blockchain technology and how it relates to Web3. We're also focusing on IoT and operational technology, or OT, and these do share certain features and protocols, and CompTIA is trying to address these similarities and differences through our certifications and initiatives.
Nice.
So I think the recent one we saw was a Data Plus that came out not too long ago.
Yes. Yeah, so the Data Plus certification, it's a certification pathway that we created. There was an increased demand in data and analytics. So we launched the Data Plus certification in February of last year. And this year we have built on that pathway with a new certification called Data Sys Plus, which launched in July. And this covers what database administrators need to effectively deploy, manage, and maintain systems, including employing the fundamentals of scripting and programming in a database environment while using security and business continuity best practices.
Okay, that's interesting. So if someone wanted to go into, let's say, for example, we have someone that's looking to go into the analytics space. So we know that, that's very data driven. Can they go straight for the Data Sys, or should they start with Data Plus and then move over to Data Sys?
So the Data Plus and the Data Sys are positioned on the same tier. So you can do both, but mostly the Data Plus is focused on the job role of a data analyst, whereas Data Sys Plus will be focused more on the database management, database monitoring. So that's two separate fields when you go into the data space, but you can always do both if you want. It's very similar to our cybersecurity pathways, where we've got CYSA Plus, which is the cybersecurity analyst certification, which focuses more on the blue team member defensive side of cybersecurity, implementing defensive policies to prevent cyber attacks. And then we've got our Pen Test Plus, which is the red team, the attacker, which attacks the network to identify vulnerabilities. An individual can do both, but it's usually two different fields or two different
focuses.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
You can do both, and then we call it a purple team member in the industry. If you go that cybersecurity analyst and Pen Test Plus, it's usually the purple team member.
Okay, so we've had red, we had blue, and if you do both, you become purple. I like that. Okay.
There we go.
So Rendo, I don't know if you're allowed to share with us, or if this can be public knowledge, but what's next? Are we looking forward to CompTIA, like AI or IoT? I mean, we're talking about robotics, we're talking about all these, crazy new things. What can we look forward to next?
Yes, so there are a lot of upcoming changes and developments in the CompTIA certification program. With regards to IoT, AI, big data, a lot of those components are covered within our certifications. Looking forward, we are expanding the data pathway further with a new advanced level data science certification. That will be called Data X, and this is scheduled for launch beginning of 2024. Another interesting thing to look out for is the launch of the new Security Plus, which will be the 701 version, launching in November, I believe the 7th of November of this year. And as we can share the exam objectives. Obviously, it will include the latest security trends and technologies. And then beginning, I'm not sure if the audience is aware, or if, some of you guys might not be aware, but beginning of this year, CompTIA acquired TestOut, which is a market leader in online IT training. And through CompTIA, through the CompTIA marketplace, we will soon be offering courses in digital literacy, IT fundamentals, as well as some vendor certifications courseware, like the Microsoft Office Pro product, amongst others. And this will be delivered via TestOut full feature learning program called LabSim. And then also coming in 2024, we will be launching the CompTIA Expert Series certifications, which are intended for IT professionals with multiple years of experience. Those that have been in the field, in the respective fields for some time, and who are interested in validating their expert level knowledge of business critical technologies. So the series will begin with certifications in data, cloud networking. I believe the name will be CloudNet Plus, and then we'll also launch an expert level expert series certification in cybersecurity. So a lot of things happening next year, so stay tuned.
Wow.
Yeah.
Geez, that's quite
exciting.
a lot.
That is, and I mean, that's like the recognition of prior learning, which is something that I do believe it exists, but you know, I know that one of our teammates actually asked if there was a way that we could support this, and we were looking into avenues, especially for those folks that have been in the space for a while. So, Rendo, you've just made my job a lot easier. Thank you so much. I don't have to go and find.
You're welcome.
So with the new acquisition that CompTIA has made, is it safe to assume that us as existing partners will be able to leverage off these new offerings?
That is correct. Yes. So with the acquisition, the product suite from TestOut will be incorporated into the CompTIA, say, product offerings, and everything will be made available for purchase from the CompTIA store using your partner account.
Awesome. That's good. So
Fantastic.
I had a very humbling experience recently, Rendo, and this is when you and I met in May, and we were talking about the pass rates on those certain certifications that we were dealing with. You know, and I had this idea that CompTIA should be a lot easier than the vendor-specific exams, and boy, was I wrong.
We get that a lot.
So tell us a little bit about the level of difficulty, because I'm almost inclined to believe that I'm not the only one that assumes this, right? Because we think vendor agnostic, we think we naturally attach the word simple and easy, which is not the case.
Yeah. So to answer your question, yeah, a lot of people underestimate the difficulty of a CompTIA certification exam. It goes back to my previous point of performance-based questions. You know, a lot of these other certifications is multiple choice, theoretical based, and not as focusing on you know, the specific skills and knowledge that you need to perform the tasks. So these performance-based questions, I think that's where a lot of people, you know, stumble. And also, since our certifications are vendor agnostic, we focus on those specific skills needed for the job, and not, you know, a specific product or a platform that,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, definitely readjust my thoughts. So I'll be, you know, having intensive discussions with all our learners going forward so that they understand what they're in for. Now, Rendo, again, just a little bit.
The good thing is, CompTIA also, we offer our own, or we develop our own content, so which is called official CompTIA content, which training delivery partners like Skills Alliance have access to and make use of when offering CompTIA courses. And we have a range of courseware options available, from print books and ebooks to more comprehensive e-learning. We also have additional training tools to supplement the learner, like a labs product for practical application through within a remote hosted lab environment. And doing that practical application in the labs really helps the individual understand the work better because they physically doing it. And then we also have an exam prep tool. So by utilizing all these official CompTIA content, really it just improves the individual's chances in succeeding on the exam at the end of the day, instead of using non-official CompTIA content.
So when I look at the content, the bundles that we make available to our learners, so at Skills Alliance, we've established a best practice to add as many resources to enable that person to succeed, right? So we go with the practice test, the lab, the exam voucher with rewrite, and then we put an instructor in front of that as well, for a bit of hand holding. And it isn't easy, which means, things that are not easy in life generally tend to be a lot more valuable, right? Otherwise, they would be that simple. So I do have quite a personal passion towards the CompTIA brand, so I'm going to try not to be very biased in any of this. Rendo, tell me a little bit about your views regarding the new way of learning, self-paced versus instructor-led. What are you observing from CompTIA point of view? What's happening out there?
Yeah, so both options are available, self-study as well as instructor-led training. Since COVID hit, we've seen a massive migration from print to digital, and also from physical classroom instructor-led training to virtual instructor-led training. So with all the tools that instructors have available these days, they can present a class through a Microsoft Teams or a Zoom or a WebEx. They can use all the features and tools embedded in those platforms, like virtual whiteboards. So yeah, we're seeing a push towards the virtual instructor-led, and also with regards to testing. Pre-COVID, you had to go right in person at a Pearson VUE accredited test center. Since COVID, there's also the option now for online testing. Pearson, we collaborated with Pearson to allow students to make use of the Pearson OnView remote proctoring platform to schedule and write their exams online from home. So we're seeing definitely a migration towards virtual learning. But with regards to instructors, a lot of people still prefer that, as you mentioned, hand holding and support, and not necessarily doing everything on their own via self-study.
Okay. If we take a typical CompTIA Linux, right? We know that Linux is a baseline for all the cloud technologies that are out there. So that's a great starting point, I feel, for someone wanting to get into that space. How long does it take for someone to say comfortably that I am, if I start with CompTIA Linux Plus, this is how long I need to be able to certify, more or less?
So all our certifications are basically, if you just look at the content side of things, it's about 45 hours worth of content. In an instructor space, or if you do instructor-led training, general rule of thumb is 5 days full time for a course, which is from 8 to 4, Monday to Friday, and that will be sufficient time to cover all the exam objectives. Self-study depends obviously on your level of education, your level of knowledge, and also your level of dedication, how much time you're going to dedicate to your studies. So yeah, it differs, but you can look at around 40 to 45 hours worth of content.
Bad, actually. So in a week, you really sit and put your head down and get that piece of paper, hey?
You can. You can. So we've in the self-study route, on average, people take about 2 months. Those working and studying, self-studying afterwards. But if you run like I mentioned, full-time Instructor-led class Monday to Friday, you can do it within a week.
So let's think of a youngster that's now, I mean, we know matric exams are coming up in South Africa particularly, and folks are starting to think about what's my next plan. If they're wanting to enter the IT space, are we advising them to consider degrees? Are we saying, do a good handful of CompTIA certs, and that gets you in the right space? What would you recommend?
Yeah, it depends on the individual. We've actually CompTIA have done some research because as a certification body and a trade association, we do a lot of research into these sort of things as well. And I know there is a research paper around if that is based on in the US, that is a 4-year college degree still relevant in today's technological world. A lot, it depends. A lot of organizations out there value skills and specifically technical certifications more than a degree per se. So we have found a lot of people, foregoing the traditional college route and rather start enrolling from a beginner level into, if they want to go into IT, starting with a certification like the IT Fundamentals Plus, learning the jargon terminologies and different aspects of IT, and then moving their way through the pathway. CompTIA also has a nice IT certification roadmap on its website that showcases, it's almost can be seen as a career planning tool. If I want to become a cloud solutions architect or a SOC analyst or systems administrator, what route will I take from beginning to end? And it doesn't only include CompTIA certification; it includes your vendor-specific certifications as well, that supports that CompTIA certification. So you can map out where to start and where you can end.
Mhm. I like that. And it's a lot more cost effective because not a lot of people can afford the university, the costs that come with that, right? So you can budget. You can say that I'm going to start with ITF, and these are the funds I have available, and then start working your way. And you've got a bit more control, right? So you're not in debt with school fees. So I do like that. And what I'm hearing also, Rendo, is, I think it would be really nice or necessary for us to go out and inform the HR professionals who are not necessarily IT professionals that if you're hiring someone that's got a CompTIA certification, they're not just saying I know, but they're saying I can because of the practical component in the exams.
That is correct. That is correct. And yeah, and that is something we've got to. We work with multinational organizations. We've got alliance memberships with these multinational corporate organizations, and a lot of them have mandates in place to state that if you want to work for this company in an IT specific role, you need to have these certain CompTIA certifications. And we're growing that number. A lot of new corporate organizations are starting to mandate those certifications, especially on the foundational level, on the A+ and Network Plus. If you're in a sort of technical support kind of role, or like an IT support specialist, network administrator, those certifications are often required, and if not required by the employer, preferred.
I like that. That's a very good way to position some of our future conversations, just putting it into context. All right. Letu, do you have any questions? Because I'm just going to dominate this whole conversation. If you don't stop me.
As I can see. But look, it's quite for me, see me as the matriculant, right? Who doesn't know anything about IT and is trying to figure everything out. And the question I would ask is, as someone who's a matriculant, where do I start? How do I even figure out which part of IT do I get into? Especially with the certifications. I hear there's certifications, but where would I start? As someone who doesn't even know CompTIA, or rather, I've heard there's a CompTIA, right? But where would I start? Where would be my initial starting point where then sort of enlightens me in terms of my pathway.
Yeah. So the first thing that I'll do is go to the CompTIA website. So on the CompTIA website is you know, a bunch of information depending on your requirements, and it's like I mentioned, there's that career planning to where do I start? What career? There's different careers in IT, different job roles. Which one is right for me? So CompTIA has done a lot of research on job trends and what and feedback from people on, okay, where do I fit in, and where do I start? If you're a person that's and on that roadmap, you'll also see where you fit in. If you have no idea about computers, you've never switched one on or anything like that, the idea will be to start with IT Fundamentals Plus, and then move your way through the pathway. And then if you have some general idea of IT, maybe it's a subject you had at school, then you can start at the A plus or even the Network Plus. The thing is, we don't have any prerequisites for our certification. So say, for example, you want to do CompTIA Security Plus, but you don't have any Security Plus experience, you can still pursue that certification, but the chances that you're going to pass that exam first time around is, you know, is very, very small. That's why we do have recommendations. So for example, if you want to pursue the Security Plus certification, we recommend having CompTIA Network Plus or some networking experience and understanding, because you need to understand how networks work before you can go and secure them. And then we also recommend some experience in the security related field. So if your goal is to pursue a security tech career, look at the pathway, see, okay, where do I fit in? Do I start from the beginning, IT Fundamentals Plus, or do I start at a A plus or Network Plus level?
That makes sense.
That's good.
What are the popular high in demand certifications that you see a lot of bookings coming through for at the moment currently?
So those will be the popular certifications that I mentioned earlier, that we're seeing: the A plus, Network Plus, Security Plus. These those three are our core skill certifications, and since they are at the foundational or at the start of the pathway, we're seeing a lot more traffic there compared to our expert level certifications. For example, our CYSA plus or our CASP plus, which is a bit more advanced expert level certifications.
Okay, and I've also noticed that, I mean, you know, we work a lot in the IBM space, and one of the IBM security exams actually has two parts to it. And the first part is the CISA, the CompTIA Cybersecurity Analyst. And once they do that, only then can they go through to write the actual IBM exam. And I thought that was very interesting. So I can see that vendor collaboration happening with CompTIA, and that's
we
cool.
do that. Yeah, it's quite interesting that you mentioned that, Zakia, the CYSA before the IBM specific certification, and we see that a lot within the industry. A lot of people use our certifications because of the vendor neutrality as a ramp-up certification towards something more specific. For example, our Linux Plus certification is being used as a ramp-up certification to something more specific, more advanced, like the Red Hat certification, and then similar to our security-related certifications. And then we also have our Cloud Plus, especially in today's adoption of cloud computing. There's so many cloud platforms out there. You've got your AWS, your Azure, and those are vendor platforms. And a lot of people, cloud tech or aspiring cloud technicians, struggle to understand the cloud landscape and how to formulate a cloud strategy, how to deploy cloud models, and we are advocating for them to start with the Cloud Plus certification so that they have that technical cloud foundational knowledge before they go and focus on a cloud specific platform certification program.
You know what I particularly liked, and I can't remember if it was a Cloud Plus or Cloud Essentials, but last year we were working with the group of learners, and The instructor wasn't available that day, so I stepped in and I was trying to guide some of the conversations. And what I noticed is there's actually role-based content in there as well. You know, when you're trying to, and I think this is more geared towards a cloud architect, is what to consider. You know, the different elements to consider when you're looking at a client's environment before you propose a cloud solution. And I thought that was quite amazing, especially since CompTIA is vendor agnostic. I mean, you're not offering cloud solutions, but yet you're able to incorporate those discussions, you know, in terms of the scope of the cloud, that the client needs to consider what they have versus what they want. And I enjoyed that quite a bit. I thought that was very informative. So I learned a lot hosting the guys for that one day. I attempted some of the practice tests, and boy, I sucked. So that was again another humbling experience. The learners were like 5 steps ahead of me throughout. I think eventually they started helping me through the content, but it was really a great experience that we had.
Great to hear.
So Rendo, tell us a little bit about a day in the life of Rendo at CompTIA. What does your typical day look like?
That's the cool thing about the job. You never know what to expect. Every day is different, which I enjoy. So I look, as I mentioned in the beginning, I look after the CompTIA Authorized Delivery Partner program in South Africa, and we've got about 150 training delivery partners in South Africa, give or take. So that's a lot of partner relationships that you need to build, maintain. You help them from everything from business development to marketing, assist them with their clients, with their quotes, and then also on the other spectrum, I assist corporate organizations to basically to validate their IT staff's knowledge level, see if it's up to par, and if not, then I assist them in implementing a skills framework as well as a training development program for each individual to upskill them, get them to the correct knowledge level of. And at the end of the day, we also do a lot of advocating, a lot of research as well, in study the market trends, emerging technologies, and the needs of IT professionals.
A lot.
Yes.
I'm gonna stop complaining about my job after that. I think, yeah, you have a lot on your plate, and you've been very diligent because you check up on us very, you know, carefully every month. That email comes from you. Let's have a meeting. Let's talk about what's happening. And I do hope that Skills Alliance hasn't been giving you too much work, Renda. We'll be better. We'll try not to trouble you too much.
No, you guys have been good. Been good.
Okay, that's good.
Awesome.
And tell us a little bit about the culture at CompTIA. What is the work? What is the environment like? What are the folks like at CompTIA? Are you guys chilled? Are you working hard? Are you sending an email 12 o'clock at night and someone's replying to that email? What is it like?
So the thing is, CompTIA is a global company. So we've got people in countries all over the world. You know, from Japan, we've got people in India, Europe, Middle East, Africa. We've got people in the Caribbean, and then most people are in the US. Since our headquarters are located in Chicago in the US. But yeah, the guys are all over. We also, you know, cater to different industries. We work with businesses, government agencies, academic institutions. We work with industry experts, multinational organizations. As I mentioned, we've got advisory councils. So in the US, probably our biggest partner is the Department of Defense, which includes the US Army, Navy, and Air Force. We work very hard in terms of timelines, because we're on different timelines. Mails do get sent late at night, early morning, depending on who you're communicating with. But yeah, we work hard, but we can play hard as well.
That's good.
Yeah.
Now that is good, Rendo. Lecho, I don't know if there's anything you want. I know that Lecho's our digital marketer, so I don't know if there's going to be like a CompTIA digital marketing plus that will ever come
That
out.
would be great. That would be great if we could have something like that. um,
So I think,
just something I'm curious about. Any misconceptions, maybe even if it's about the IT industry or content itself, that you've come across, that people have, whether it's IT industry or CompTIA, that you guys are trying to address as well.
Yes, I think there is some misconceptions within the IT industry.
Yeah.
For example, we've females usually don't see IT as a specific route for them. It's still a male-dominated industry, but I know CompTIA, through the philanthropic efforts, through our research and analysis, there's a push to get more women involved in tech. In fact,
Yeah.
one of my colleagues, Lorraine Forster, she had a panel discussion with leading women in tech in South Africa, where they discussed, what initiatives they can put in place, what programs can they introduce to improve that. In the US, for example, we've got a great initiative called Tech Girls, and this is a CompTIA IT sort of program that they do with girls in middle school, to introduce them to IT, get them excited to IT, and hopefully get them to pursue a career in IT. So I think that's one of the misconceptions, is that IT is not a place for women, and that is something that we are looking to change. And since we are the voice of the IT industry, I think we are getting that message across. A lot of people also think that IT is difficult. If they are not technological savvy or technologically inclined, they won't make or get a career in IT, and that is also false. We've got our, as I mentioned, our pathways. If you start with the IT fundamentals and work your way up, there's a lot of jobs available, and also we're seeing there's a lot of basically every organization has an IT department, or an IT dedicated team. And we're seeing a massive growth in the number of IT jobs being posted. So if you are demotivated from getting into a career in IT, the important thing is just to get started. Just start from the beginning and work your way up.
yeah, and I don't think any job role is going to be able to avoid IT altogether. You're going to have some certain, well, at least a small level of understanding the tools that you're dealing with, from just switching your laptop on to backing it up. So yeah, a lot happening in this space, and definitely a space to be in. That is it.
Yeah, even people,
Yes.
it's correct that you're saying that. It's like, yeah, even people in a non-technical role in organizations, people in, say, legal, finance, marketing, even those guys are starting. We getting requests from people in those job roles looking to do entry-level IT certifications, because they're dealing with technology on a daily basis. They want to upskill themselves. They want to understand the jargon and terminologies. So it's not solely for technical people as well. We've got, especially with the new digital literacy certification that we're going to launch, that is also going to be very helpful for those non-technical folks.
Great. I look forward to the new developments, Rendo. I'm very excited with the information that you shared. So I'll be keeping my eye out. And in the meantime, we'll keep pushing our CompTIA message out there with our learners. And Rendo, you know that this year we're busy with a Red Hat learnership. Eh? We've got 5 learners with diverse abilities sitting at 90 Greyston. And they're doing the NQF Level 5 systems development, CompTIA Linux, which they sat last week with our trainer. Right now, they're busy working through the self-paced modules, and next month they start moving towards Red Hat. So I'm very keen, and I'm eager to see what the outcome of this is, and I hope to see you at that graduation ceremony as well.
Definitely, I'll be there.
Absolutely. Awesome. Before we close off, I just want to see if there are any final thoughts or comments from yourself or Letty.
I'm good on my side.
Awesome. Rendo, you good?
I'm all good. I'm all good. If there's any questions or follow-up questions, feel free to give me a shout.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what we'll do is we'll just grab links of what you've mentioned. So it was the learning pathway, it was some of the CompTIA resources.
Yeah.
And then I just want to try and find, you mentioned that there was a talk that was hosted with a top woman in IT. If you could let us know where we could find that, Rendo, and then we can post that link on our podcast as well. That would be really awesome to help our viewers find that. We're also on a bit of a mission this month at Skills Alliance talking about women in IT. So I think it's so nice that it comes together in this conversation too.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon, both of you. I appreciate it. Rendo, always good speaking to you.
Always a pleasure. Thanks, Zakia. Thanks for setting this up. Thank you, Letty. Really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Rendo.
Rendo.
It was a pleasure.
Bye, gentlemen.